So we're going to be hearing more and more about criminal justice reform out of the White House, out of Washington over the next couple weeks and months. Criminal justice reform is that movement, is that idea that says there are too many black people being stopped, arrested, charged, convicted, sent to prison, and once back out, sent back to prison for no reason whatsoever other than they're black, and the same cops are ignoring all this white criminality out there. Okay, yeah, that's the fairy tale they're asking us to believe. Unfortunately, one of the people peddling the fairy tales is the President of the United States and his son-in-law. But that is what it is. But here's what I want. Whenever I hear the fairy tales, here's what I listen to in my mind. What about the victim? Do you ever hear one person talking about the victim of all this violence? Oh, and by the way, if they tell you that federal and state and local jails and prisons are full up of people smoking pot, that's just 100% not true. What happens sometimes, you catch somebody committing a violent crime, you plead it down to the lowest one to get them out of there, whether that means pot or carrying a little bit of whatever. So these prisons and jails are full of violent people, but it's easy to kind of get lost in the weeds. It's easy. People that lobby for the criminals love to get into these esoteric and academic discussions about the numbers. Oh, Colin, this number's this number's that. You don't know the numbers, Colin. I know the numbers. Don't you worry. I know the numbers better than... I've forgotten more about the numbers in the last 1 minute than people like that know. But this isn't really about the numbers, is it? It's about people doing everything they can to take our eyes off the prize, our eyes off the victims, our eyes off the incredible human toll this black crime and violence wildly out of proportion takes. Let's take a look at just two recent examples that came in the last couple of hours.
Terrified children dialing 911 as their mother was attacked in her bedroom by a strange man with a knife. Amazingly, no one was badly hurt. That man is now under arrest tonight. WBZ's Bill Shields is live for us in Sharon with more on what happened here. Bill?
David, can you imagine? It's last night. It's snowing. So you're going to stay home with your three kids and watch TV. All of a sudden, the door flies open. A stranger's in your house with a knife, and he says he's going to kill everybody. That's what happened to a Sharon family. Richard Francis of Hyde Park. Apparently, he had a mental breakdown last night and barged into a Sharon home with a knife where a mother was watching TV with her three children.
Did you say he had a knife, ma'am? What? Does he have a knife or a weapon? I don't know.
It was a chaotic nightmare. The kids ran upstairs, then their mother tried to get Francis outside.
She had words with him, obviously, to defend the children and try to kind of shield them. He took a frame, a glass frame, and drove it into her skull.
That's when Sharon police officer Richard Derry arrived.
Encountered a lady that was all bloody, and she's screaming that her kids are in the house, and the guy in the house with a knife wanted to kill her kids.
Derry charged into the house and found Francis upstairs.
He was stabbing the door with a knife.
Behind the closet door was one of the kids.
He opened a door where a child was in a closet or behind the door, and he was looking at the child. The child said, "Please, I am too young. Don't kill me."
Then in walked Officer Derry.
He was just screaming, and I just grew down on him and held there until he complied.
Well, David Alexandra, the police investigation into the murders came under fire after detectives failed to file reports and log interviews in a timely manner. And the victims' families say they've been waiting for justice, and today they got it, despite the behavior of the convicted killer. By the look on Preston Pope's face, you might think he's about to get out of prison. Instead of learning, he'll spend the rest of his life there and then some.
Period of life on count one, murder in the first degree.
Pope repeatedly smiled throughout the hearing. The judge gave him 2 life sentences and another 150 years for the murders of 2 friends, days apart in August of 2015.
It's tragic, and it's senseless.
Pope shot a young mother, 23-year-old Deprecia Nealon, with her 4-year-old daughter in her home. Days later, Pope ambushed 19-year-old Agarian Johnson in his car, shooting and killing him. Pope continued to smile even when the victims' families tearfully shared their grief with the judge.
She had a daughter. She was my only sister. She was my best friend. At times I still want to pick up the phone and call her for simple things. I don't get that luxury anymore. There's no sense of relief. There's no sense of relief this courtroom could give me today. None.
Pope refused to acknowledge the judge when he gave him the opportunity to speak in court, but he did have something to say to the victims' families as deputies led him away. The family showed great restraint and ignored the man who murdered their loved ones.
It's okay because justice was served today. Justice was served today. No matter how he feels, justice was served, and we still forgive him.
Johnson's mother also finds comfort in knowing her son's killer won't be smiling while in prison.
Boy, how many courtroom scenes have we seen where the killer stands up and mocks the victim's family or the victim?
Please, sir, I want some more.
How many? That's a black thing. Yeah, you wouldn't understand that. So let's keep our eyes on the prize. Let's insist when these Poindexters get up there and start talking about criminal justice reform, let's insist they talk about the victims. Even if talking about the victims makes the black kids angry.